Hi, we're in Hickory, North Carolina, Leather Miracles. Today we're going to take you behind the scenes and let you take a look at the finishing processes that occur here that ends up in some of the upholstery showrooms you see at High Point Market.
Leather Miracles is based in Hickory, North Carolina. We are an importer of leather goods around the world, and we also are a finishing facility for leather specifically for the furniture industry. We also make cut and sew kits, so we provide a service for furniture manufacturers around this area with some of our international partners, and we make beautiful leathers right here. Leather Miracles was founded in 2000 by Tim Scopes and David Matheson, who originally were at Lackawanna Leather in Hickory, North Carolina. And they had worked in the leather industry most of their lives. One was sales, one was the product technician. He went to school at the London School of Tanning. They came together to form a finishing facility in Hickory. So it's both import and finishing here. So here we bring crust in, which is after the tanning process of a hide and the initial dyeing phase. We bring it to our facility here in Hickory, and our team creates different leather options for the upholstery, for the furniture industry. So whether it's a hand-finished leather, we have a spray machine, we have a FiniFlex machine, so it's applying the different processes that lead to the ultimate aesthetic of the leather and the final good. A lot of it is going to be tagged obviously to the hide market, which is commoditized. Any of the finishing techniques that go into it are part of what makes it better, and typically you're going to see good, better, best really does follow kind of the categories of leather. There are beautiful aniline leathers, which are, it's a dyeing term. That's what you'll see behind me. Crusts are dyed with aniline dyes. It's just like if you were talking about a stain versus a paint. And usually the less processed to a hide, the better the hide, and therefore the more expensive the hide. There is a difference between a defect and a natural characteristic. And so I will say, when there's too many natural characteristics, which would be something like a flea or tick bite, it would be something like the stretch marks that you see, or scars that might be on a hide, the brands, things like that. Our team would do a full sort, or we're going to make sure that there are specific panels available for the furniture industry. And when you're painted, you can really go over a lot of those. Anything that has like a physical touch to it would get rejected. Anything that's like a hole, or that would get rejected. You're also going to see the difference in hides from South America, from the United States, and from Europe. Traditionally, like European hides are the cleanest and the largest, followed by the United States hides, which are also large, cleaner, but not quite as pristine. And each of these have varying grades within them as well. And then South American, they're the largest standing herd, so they have a lot of cows, and therefore it's typically used for primarily promotional. A lot of them do have the hole in the middle, the hump. So you'll see the hump hole, which doesn't make it as easy to cut from a furniture perspective. So some people who are using machines might shy away from South American raw material, whereas hand cutters can really get around that better. But a lot of those are used again for more of the finished leathers, because they typically have, because of the high heat and the climate in South America, you're typically seeing a bit more of the natural characteristics on display, or as we like to say it, the hallmarks of the trail. So that's going to be more prominent in some of the South American versus your European or your US raw material. We've always been an importer of hides from around the world. Even before, when there was a US-based tannery, we had ownership in tanneries around the world that we were bringing in, just because there's different tanning practices all over. There's different artisans that can develop product lines that are unique to the US market, and because it's a fashion market, you're bringing in unique things from around the world. And so we still bring leather in from Italy, from Brazil, from No, not really from China anymore, from India, from all over. So we have leather partners around the world, and we bring leather into our facility here and then distribute it to manufacturers in the US market. And a lot of that, again, is speaking to the strengths of the tanneries around the world. We develop leathers with them, and then we, again, bring them into the US. What we're doing here in the United States, we've traditionally used European raw material and South American raw material, just because those are more readily available, honestly, from a lot of our tanning partners. Finding US raw material has been difficult because a lot of it goes to China. So finding US raw material that's high grade US raw material that is not getting tanned in China has been difficult. And we were bringing it in through a Chinese tannery. And you'll see that a lot of the US we sell the raw material to China, and then China now is selling it back to us, so it gets tariffed twice. So we've really had to refocus that. And I'm assuming that will shift from a supply perspective anyway, because it's difficult for the US cattle industry now to sell it to China as well. So it'll probably get rerouted into some of the alternative tanning spaces like Italy, like Mexico, like the Dominican Republic, because it's really not getting tanned in the United States. So it has to get processed somewhere else. And then we bring the crust here and we finish it. So we have an entire line of US made on US raw material. We also have, again, European products and South American, and that really does give you a good, better, best story, honestly, based on sort of where the raw material is coming from, how we finish it here. Most of the tanning space was built around like water filtration, which has advanced tremendously in the last 20 years since there's been an existing tannery in the US at that sort of level of production. And so most of the major tanning technology that's happening and the advancements in tanning technology are actually in Asia and some in Europe and some in Brazil. So from an efficiency standpoint, the Brazilians and the Chinese are probably been the ones to really get that and make sure that it is not just efficient, but also environmentally. They're closed systems, they have on-site water filtration plants, and that's really where a lot of it comes in. So no matter what, yes, there's definitely an opportunity, but you'd want to be on the forefront of technology, and most of the machinery that exists in this area is definitely, it's not going to be that necessarily. And so it's an investment, it's a big investment to do that. And yes, to your point, it hasn't been here in a long time at that capacity, at that level. So we use our sort of import strategy to drive our domestic business. And so we've created a manufacturing facility here, sort of rooted in what we can do everywhere else as well. And I think that's kind of how it's worked for a long time anyway, just because it's been an international business. There's Italy for so long was the leader in tanning leather, and then Argentina as well, and Uruguay. I mean, there's beautiful tanneries all over the world, and so we embrace sort of what everyone can do well and bring it here, and we do our own thing as well. So whether it comes back, I mean, we have obviously explored that. We'll see. I think you have to always, if you're going to do it, be the best at it too, and do something new. So if we can achieve that, we will. But for now, we're gonna keep moving forward how we have been. Again, driven by the consumer, I think you're seeing a lot more return of the anilins, the beautiful anilins, and a lot of a return to the classic. Leather is a classic, and I think no matter what the trend is, we're always trying to define what the classic is right now. Whether it's a brown leather, there's so many different shades of brown to work from, but we obviously have lots of different color ranges here that we can work for, and we usually say that brown is always king. What brown is sort of what the difference is. And then there's usually a peripheral trend color. I do think that, we've been seeing more, and if this is more from like a trend perspective, we've been seeing a lot more of your sort of dry hand, super soft aniline leathers that really do patina and also get softer with wear. Not necessarily your most protected, but then again, there's also the alternative side. So, you've got one who wants that beautiful rich patina, and you've got the other they've got kids, they want something family friendly, they want something that cleans really easily. They're using something that's a bit more, again, family friendly. So a pigmented leather, and both of them still exist. I think what you're seeing from the pigmented side is everyone wants it to look like an aniline. So something that has more of a subtle wax break to it, but it's a static wax break. So it looks like something that might be more raffine, but it really is static and finished. Or, and we're seeing the grays have kind of gone out the door, thankfully. It's all warm sands, taupes, and camels, very rich colors, which, is always fun from our perspective. The cool grays and things like that are gone, I think, for a little bit, hopefully. We have a strength in that we have a really great product. We have several really great product technicians that have been trained around the world and trained people around the world. And so from a development perspective, we can create some unique things and we can push the boundaries there. I think we're always looking to create. That's something that has been just the foundation of our business, is being unique and sort of driving what the trend is within the leather industry. I think it's still just being a service provider for our customers around here, which is something we've always really thrived. We warehouse a lot of leather here for customers, so we can be that importer for them. We can store and then deliver leather. However, I think it's really trying to be the same, but also continue to evolve with the rest of the marketplace. And then TBD, you'll see what's yet to come.